Right, morning. Welcome, everybody. Trust you had a good day yesterday. And I trust you're going to be talking about trust. So what is trust? Who trusts who? And why should you trust anybody? Lee, do you trust that we're going to have a good conversation this morning?
Oh, that I fully trust in, because it's been proven to me consistently over time, which is exactly one of the bases of trust. So I was thinking about what are the characteristics, or what are the elements of trust that if I was to say I trust somebody, what are my expectations of that trust? And what is that trust based on? So I just listed a couple of things. The one is that they do what they say they will do. It doesn't mean they do what I tell them to do. That's a completely different thing. But if they commit to something, if they say they're going to do something, that they actually do it. That for me is a basis of trust. That they keep confidences. That what I share in private or in confidence, they don't share with others. That they don't lie to me, and they don't keep the truth from me. And they don't do anything to actively harm me. I don't necessarily expect them to do anything good for me, and that might sound a bit cynical, but but my expectation in terms of the lowest basis of trust is that they don't do anything to actively harm me. And then I think the last thing is what I actually started with, is that they do these things consistently over time. So it's not just a once-off thing, that they could do these things fine, and then suddenly there'll be a lie or a broken confidence, and then the trust is broken. And then I thought, actually, that's a lot of expectation to trust somebody. And and then it sort of feels like, am I actually being quite arrogant, expecting that from other people? And I go back to Muhammad Ali, is that it's only arrogant if you can't do it. So, then it comes back to my trustworthiness. Do I do these things? Do I expect these things of myself? And do I deliver on those things? And I realized these are actually fundamental to who I am. I live my life by those. Jasper talks a lot about values, and I'm not saying I do this perfectly 100% all of the time. So then, do I give myself more permission to not always abide or not always follow? But I do know that, I don't know, if I gave myself, those particular principles, I feel like I'm working jolly hard on those things. So as you can tell, it's not an easy subject, and it did involve some self-reflection, as well as, and then the last thing I want to say is that I've been doing a lot of reading around the Pygmalion effect, which is our expectations of others, and how others live up or down to our expectations. And it has a lot to do with our own perception of them, and how they then behave according to our perceptions and our expectations. And that if you start off from a base of, I don't trust you, then I don't know that they're terribly trustworthy, because that's exactly how they're going to show up. So I did some thinking, and I've put it all in the pot. Let's hear what you have to say.
Thanks, Lee. Yeah, so is trust truly that fragile? Or is it, can it withstand some of those things? So a friend of mine always used to say, what's the definition of commitment? And his definition of commitment was consider it done. So I think that's what you sort of alluding to, Lee, in that process. So, right, Jasper, I think we have to get across to you first this morning. So no time to wake up slowly and let other people answer your questions for you. You've got to answer your own questions this morning.
Morning. Compliments to Lee. She's done such a good summary of what I was going to say that all I have to say now is amen. So there's nothing left for me to add to her unpacking of trust. So the only thing that I thought, well, what can I contribute after that was I often refer to a trust network. Because I fully agree with her. I think all of what she said was summarized for me in the word consistent behavior. So with that then in mind and her definition of all the expectations we have of people, and I don't think it's too much to ask. I think it's almost part of our human DNA that there's a saying, treat others as you want to be treated. So we do grow up with that kind of expectation and need to be trusted. But what I mean by a trust network is it's maybe coming from a selfish perspective to say, what is it that I personally need for my mandate and my family goals and my things? And then once I clearly understand what I need, let's say, for instance, example, I don't know how to, I'm not too technically inclined when it comes to computer. I need someone that I can trust, that I have a relationship with, and I can just phone and say, Ivan, what's happening here? My thing gives me all sorts of funny messages. And trusting him to be so advanced that in a few minutes we can fix what will probably cost me days and ends. But in all the various disciplines of my life, so in terms of technical, in terms of emotional, in terms of when it comes to all this fake news around the world, who do we trust? Yeah, so the person that I want to then trust is not necessarily in his field considered a specialist, but from my perspective, he's my specialist. He's my guy that I can go to, and I know he's done some homework and he's thought things through. So yeah, so I just wanted to throw in on top of what Lee have said is, what do you see as a trust network?
Thanks, Jasper. Okay, so Scotty loves the word trust network, so we'll have to get across to Scotty next to that one.
Yeah, yeah, definitely the trusted network thing is most important. I think it's going to become more important as we see trust in Facebook and social media dropping rapidly. I think that we're kind of in a situation now, guys, where more and more people are turning away. I literally just saw the Facebook post come up just before this, where farmers are going to be handing out ivermectin anyway, so they're manufacturing it and doing it themselves. So they don't care what the government thinks. And I think that's just going to start happening more and more. And maybe a question we need to be asking ourselves as well is, once trust has been broken, now what? What do we do? Maybe that's something, because I think we have to almost live our lives knowing that the trust is going to be broken. So we're going to moan and be victimized, or we're going to actually do something.
Sure. Short and sweet this morning, Scotty. Short and sweet. All right. So, Trevor, I think we're going to go to you this morning.
Stand up and be counted, Scott. Ivan, is there a delay? Because I seem to have a delay on the pictures here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
All right, good.
I think it's just a brand of yours again.
Right. I think just to take up from where Scott left off, for me, trust is the most fragile of things, but also the freest of things that I actually give to people that my gut tells me I should give them a chance. Because there are individuals that fit a mental profile or just a gut feel profile that I would never trust with giving them a chance at anything. But that's just over years of a gut feel of reading intangible signs or just something about an individual that I won't trust. But Scott, the moment that I give trust to individuals and those people that my gut says trust, I give them full trust until they stab me in the back.
I love that attitude, Trevor. I agree. Rather be trusting until proven otherwise than just become a distrusting. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, 100%. But heaven help you if you put that knife in the back. You better put it in the right spot, because it's the death knell for you, and I spell that N-E-L. It's coming back. Go and have a look at your dictionary. I think it's in the dictionary under knell. Death knell. I came up with that as something that was unique from my side, Ed. You're gone. The moment that you actually stab me in the back, you're gone. And there have been many, many people that have stabbed me in the back over my time. And I must say, I think the last count that I had, and then I stopped counting, the individuals that actually stabbed me in the back in pretty big environments within financial services, 6 of them served time in prison. So they were all found out, which is quite interesting. So this is not a low-key warning to those people who are sharpening the knives and that sort of thing. But I'm looking for number 7. No, I'm not. I think, Scott, that's what it is. This trust thing is a fragile thing, and if you've got an open mind to trusting people. On top of that, is if you do have the mind to trust people, then don't be surprised when you get let down, because you are going to be let down by 99.99% of individuals. The difference is whether they deliberately stab you in the back or whether, it's just human failing. Some people don't match the standards that you might have. And you've got to be aware of that. And you've got to remember when you sit back there and you don't follow up on that commitment that Lee's looking for, and you stab yourself in the foot in front of Lee. So that's why she's brought it up. I'm sure I must have dropped the ball somewhere along the line here. Lee, I get your subliminal message. I think I don't.
Right. So, Ed, thought I'd better leave you to last on this one for a change and see if you can I don't know, sharpen the knife or blunten the knife or take the knife away or maybe replace it with a sword. I'm not too sure which way you want to go with this one.
Oh, Cherie's just jumped in to take my last spot. I feel very ungallant this morning because I'm going to totally disagree with Lee, which is not something I would normally do. Because I don't think trust is binary. I think it's got lots of facets to it. And I think the first thing she talked about was trusting someone. Now, there's plenty of people I would trust perhaps with my money. I wouldn't trust them with my secrets. There are people I'd trust with my secrets. I wouldn't trust with my money. And there's people that have trusted me on certain things that I've consistently lied to. And I'll give you an example. When my daughters started going out at night on their own, I wanted them to be safe. So I said to them, if you ever find yourself in a difficult situation, perhaps the person driving you home's drunk or whatever, just phone me. Phone me up. I won't moan, I will come and get you, and I will not ask any questions. And that was really important to me that they believed that, because I wanted them to be safe. And when they phoned me up and I went and fetched them, I did exactly that. I didn't moan, I didn't ask any questions. And that was it. And they always phoned me when they were in trouble. But I'd lie to them all the time. I told them that a certain person on the 25th of December was real. I told them when they went to the doctor for an injection, it wasn't going to hurt. All sorts of other lies. I told them that, yes, we'll go to the cinema as a family on Thursday night. And then work got in the way and we didn't go. So I think trust depends on the context, and people are prepared to not, to accept that some things they can trust you on and some things they can't. And we all put our trust in everyone almost every day, although we do it differently depending on where we are. In the UK, we trust that other motorists are going to stop at the traffic lights. You're robots. In South Africa, you probably don't. But even though we trust people, a sensible driver will always check. And I think, trust is a really weird thing. And like Trevor, I trust people almost when I first meet them. And I give them the benefit of the doubt until they show different. But it's like at work, isn't it? You trust your employees, you delegate something to them, but you check in to make sure that you've got it right. And then once you've got it, you can trust them, you let them fly, don't you? But I do think it's a contextual thing. I think it's a granular thing in that sometimes we'll trust some people, we won't trust other people. We'd probably trust an older driver to get us safely somewhere than we would a younger driver, even though we both trust them as people. So that's my thoughts, and I hope that helped or didn't help. Oh, I'm not going to answer the question about the 25th of December because this is recorded.
Well, as I say, Cherie is definitely not on your wavelength as far as that one goes. It's I think Cherie, you better tell us why he's so real and what you think about trust.
Do you want me to speak? Okay, well, I don't know if this has got anything to do with trust. Maybe it does tie in, but to be very frank, the fact that every year Christmas trees go up, every year people are going out in their droves and buying presents and subscribing to the whole event, whether the actual physical being of Santa Claus or whatever you want to refer to him as exists or not immaterial, it exists. The whole essence of him absolutely exists by virtue of the fact that people spend billions every year on presents, put up their Christmas trees and have Christmas dinner. So that is existence for me, the fact that everyone subscribes to it. The minute we all subscribe to something, we make it real. Just like subscribing to fiat currency, we have made it real. We've added value, bringing in the value again from the talk of yesterday. The intrinsic value therein lies with regards to the fact that we have given it, it's our faith and our backing for something that was not tangibly real. So anything that is not tangibly real becomes real by our subscription. And that is the same with trust. Trust, once again, like I mentioned yesterday, coming back to the whole existentialism and crises of the real questions behind everything. Trust, again, is another, like, how long is a piece of string and in what context? It absolutely is contextual. For sure, we can try and have some kind of paradigms where the whole world can subscribe to certain values and morals and adhere to those, and that is where your trust can become solid. But that can always change, just like so many things in the world change all the time through generations. So trust is not something that you can really pinpoint down to anything specific, other than being maybe integrous to yourself. And I'm not saying Hitler wasn't integrous to himself, because he most surely was. So you have to also weigh those pros and cons. So yeah, unless we don't trust ourselves, I don't think we can trust anyone. That for me is the fundamental. And the minute you have that security within yourself, then you can start exploring the other options and start seeing the folly and the faux in the faux part, in other people and governments and institutions. And if you want to do something about it, maybe do something about it. But until you have that inherent trust within yourself, which not many people do, I think it's a moot concept. It's not even worth discussing because no one will really get it and understand the true meaning of trust otherwise. Thanks.
Sure. Okay. So, yeah. Have to unravel a few big words there, Ed. You're gonna have to get your dictionary out and teach me. I trust you'll find the answers and the meanings of those words. Some of them are way beyond my pay grade. So yeah, trust, is it real? It's a good question. Sure, I'm not too sure what happened there. You went to fetch his dictionary. There you go. Well done. Yeah, I think perception, as I also said yesterday, I think perception is what makes everything real for the individual who's perceiving it, and it might not be the way the person next to them perceives it, because we all see things through our own rose-tinted glasses and from our own perception and from our own point of value. And I think, there's a difference between value and values. And I think we've had those discussions as well, and not only yesterday, but I think we've spoken about values before. But yeah, I think it, in my opinion, it can be incredibly fragile. I mean, I dismantled a group of companies that I was chairman of based on a trust issue many years ago. One of my co-directors and shareholders made a statement in a board meeting, and that was it. I said, well, that's the case. We take it all apart, go your own way. So I think it can be fragile. Was it an overreaction? Maybe not. But well, you've got to, I suppose, as Lee says, you've got to come at it from your own point of view and your own trustworthiness in yourself. Are you doing what you say you're going to do? Are you sticking to your values? Do you really know what they are? But by the same token, you've got to give people leeway, because again, as Lee said, nobody's perfect. But Lee, I was shocked to hear you say that you're not perfect. And I know you work very hard at being perfect. So, so you've just broken that one. There you go. Yeah, I give Lee some leeway. Yeah, absolutely. Right, so I've rambled enough as well. So Lee, I think back to you. Give you some leeway to wrap this up. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I have to follow Cherie's thinking, and I might not be entirely on her wavelength, so I may be.
You've got to trust these women to stick together.
I've got to trust my thinking here. I'm known for my self-doubt, so let's go with that. She's used the word existentialism, and previously she's spoken about, we be talking about these big life questions. So let's ask a life question. And my question for tomorrow is, who am I?
Lee Harrison, I think. Well, at least you are today.
Who am I? Let's go there. And I'm going to blame Cherie.
All right, sure. Lee, what are we going to do for that one? So, folks, go out and find yourselves, ask the question of yourselves, and come back and tell us tomorrow who you found. So, all right, have a great day. And by the way, if you want to join us in an hour and a half, we're back on with UK Chats at 10 a.m. It is a different Zoom link, so if you want to get onto that, let us know. And otherwise, we will see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Go well.
See you later.